and that you've seen in transforming lives, or what we say, empowering lives with the martial arts? What are the biggest benefits and value?
For me, I would say the number one thing, honestly, is confidence. Kind of like what I talked about earlier was, when I earned my black belt, I got this newfound confidence in myself. When I talk to kids, I tell them like it's like a superpower, right? I got my black belt and I unlocked this new superpower inside of me where, that confidence comes out and you realize that you're capable of way more than you ever thought you were.
Hello, my name is James Cox. This is a martial arts lifestyle, and we are in episode number 82 today. I have a special guest with me, Mr. Cameron Smith from the Georgia area. Cameron is, quite an amazing young martial artist, entrepreneur, influencer, speaker. He's doing all kinds of things. I see him all over. And I'd have to say, as kind of watching him from afar through the years in our martial arts industry, quite a charismatic individual, and definitely a lot of heart and passion behind what he does. You're going to see it and hear it in yourself. But Cameron, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you so
brother.
much for having me. It's a pleasure getting to be on the show today. Thanks for the invite. I'm excited for this. This is going to be awesome, man.
Good. Well, we're going to provide some good information, some good content for the listeners. You never know one thing you might say and now how it can be spread all over the world that could, as philosophical as we want to be, that could change someone's life, that could empower them and sometimes even save them. Putting those smiles on someone's face in such a negative world is important. That's what we do in our martial arts and the other things that we do. But you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of the journey that you have and what you got going on?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess if we kind of start in the beginning, I started my martial arts journey actually when I was 9 years old. So I remember walking through the grocery store with my mom. We were walking through a Publix and we saw a little flyer that said, like, do you want to train like the Karate Kid? So this was the time that the Karate Kid movie was coming out. It was the remake version with Jaden Smith in it. And I remember seeing that flyer in the store and I got all excited. I started bugging my mom. I'm like, Mom, I want to be the Karate Kid. Like, I want to do this. So after bugging her enough, she finally eventually took me to the karate school to be able to just try a class, see how I would like it. Leading up to that, I always thought about, like, oh man, like what would it be like to be a martial artist or to be a black belt? And at that point, it was more of just a thought. I never actually thought it would be something I would actually go after or more or less achieve and obviously make it my career long term. But, we did the class, tried it out, enjoyed it. She signed me up. We thought this was going to be like a little hobby. I was involved in a lot of after school activities, from basketball to going to be a part of like a bowling league, like all this different stuff, after school programs and everything. So, we thought this was just going to be another one of those, honestly. And, throughout the journey and throughout the process, I started to really develop a passion for this thing. And, it gave me a sense of belonging. I always kind of felt like I was that outlier or that misfit in the way. I didn't feel like I always like really fit in with the crowd. I kind of struggled with that a little bit throughout school. And, martial arts gave me that sense of social belonging where I felt like, man, I belong here, right? And it started to teach me what I was capable of. Obviously, my instructor and my mentor, like, he poured into me, he really invested into me and cared about me as a human being, right? So just having that influence on my life and then having those positive people that I was surrounded by every day, it really started to just kind of drive that passion deep in my heart that now I wanted to start to help people. So obviously, I set the goal of becoming a black belt. That's what I wanted to do. Earned that goal, achieved that. But it was actually during my black belt test was when I really decided that I wanted to take that next step and be an instructor. I thought about it before, but it really didn't click for me until literally I was in the middle of my black belt test. Like, I'm sitting there going through this tough exercise. I remember looking back at my mom and dad going like, please save me. Like, get me out of here, please. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And, obviously, like good parents do, they're like, no, you're going to keep going. Right. And so I keep going through the test. And I just remember in that moment getting this just like strong vision. Like, I still remember it to this day. It was just got this strong vision of myself standing up at the front of the class, at the front of the mat, just leading a class, leading a group of kids and being a strong role model for those kids and being a leader and a mentor for them. And it was through the vehicle of martial arts. And once that really set off, I was about 13 at the time. And when I had that vision, when I had that moment in the test, it was like everything shifted for me. I realized that my new purpose, my new potential is to help people. It's to inspire people. It's to motivate them. It's to lead them, to encourage them. And specifically for me, it was young people, right? Kids, teens, young adults, to be able to help them realize what they are capable of accomplishing. And, if it wasn't for martial arts, I wouldn't have found that passion for myself. And so now I've made it my life's mission, my life journey to be able to do that for more people. So 9 years old is kind of when it all started. 13 was when that seed was planted. And then from there, man, I've just been going all in on that mission ever since that day.
That's awesome, bro. Man, I love when you said that's like what good parents do when you had wanted to maybe quit and they didn't allow that.
Yes.
There's controversy you could easily debate. I think there's some famous posts that go around.
Yeah.
Kids don't quit karate, parents quit. The
Yep.
parents quit on them. You got to be careful how you word certain things, but we got to know what's best as a parent. And just imagine if you would have quit and they would have just allowed you to easily escape,
Oh yeah.
what you would have lost, right?
No, definitely. I
Crazy.
mean, there were plenty times like during my own journey of training where like I wanted to stop. Because it was hard. It's difficult as a kid. You don't understand. You don't really realize how to push through that pain. You have to kind of learn that. So as a kid, you face a difficult moment. What's the easy thing to do? Like quit. Like you don't have to
Hmm.
deal with that anymore. If I quit, I don't have to go through that difficulty anymore. It's easy, right? Feeling that pain, and like nobody wants to go through that, or even just doing hard things. Even it might not even be pain. It might just be hard things, similar as cleaning your room, right? No kid wants to go clean their room, right? So little things like that, pushing through that. If it weren't for my parents pushing on me, if it wasn't for them, encouraging me through that and helping me see what that light was at the end of the tunnel, the reason why I was going through that, the lesson through that, if it wasn't for them, I mean, honestly, I don't know where I would be. And I'm thankful for
Yeah.
that now. Like I look back on it, and even though there were moments when I was a kid where I'm like, man, I wish you would have let me quit that, or man, I wish my parents didn't make me do that or make me do this. I look back on it now as an adult, and man, I'm thankful for it. Like super
Yeah,
thankful
yeah.
for it because it made me who I am.
Right, right. Yeah. They're being mean and making me do something that's good for me.
Yeah, exactly. How
Right.
dare they? How
Yeah,
dare they make me
right.
do what's good for myself?
Yeah. And you've done this full time professionally. It's your career from managing martial arts schools to now consulting businesses and helping other people be successful. But man, you had to take a risk and a commitment to go all in full time. How how did that happen, and what was the challenge?
No, great question. Great question. So it definitely was a risk. We have this saying that we talk about with our clients too. We'll say, commit first, figure the rest out later.
Hmm.
And, I've started living that out more and more recently. But I remember I was actually in high school. I started working at the martial arts school I was training at. I started working there in high school as just an assistant instructor, kind of like a junior instructor, helping teach a couple of classes here and there. And I remember it was around my junior or senior year. I want to say it was actually my senior year was really when this happened. But it was like early in my senior year, my instructor came up to me and, we had a conversation, and he just asked me like, hey, would you consider doing this full time? Like, would you like the opportunity to kind of be my right hand man, to be the head instructor of this location and, be able to continue this? And at the time, a lot of people don't know this about my story, but one of the biggest passions that I had growing up actually wasn't martial arts. It was actually music. And still to this day, like that's still a part of me. Anything like music, production, like anything like that, I still love that whole field, love that industry. But music was, what I was surrounded by growing up. Everybody in my family had something to do with music at some level. So I went through middle school, high school, and band and choir, marching band. Like I was section leader for our drum line, like all this stuff. Like I was in all state, all this kind of stuff. So that was like a very, very important part of my life. And so I actually always thought I was going to go to school to be a music teacher. It's actually what I originally thought. I thought I was going to go to school, pursue a music education degree, and I was going to get that degree and I was going to be a music teacher in high school or whatever for my career. That's what my career path was. And in my senior year, I actually had that set up. I already applied to the college I was going to. I got accepted. I applied to the School of Music at that college, got accepted, was getting ready to do my auditions, literally had housing set up and all of that stuff. when I had this conversation with my instructor, and that it hit me. I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait a second. Okay, I could go do this music thing and I have a passion for it. But the hard part about this is I'm going to see one set group of kids, every year or every semester, but every year those kids are going to change. I can make an impact there, but if I'm able to do this thing, this martial arts thing, which I never thought you could have a career teaching martial arts, but
Right.
hey, if I take this martial arts thing, man, I can work with somebody for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Like I can actually really like go all in and help somebody and be a real mentor for them. And so I struggled with that for about 2 weeks, talked to my music mentors. I talked to my parents about it, just trying to get answers from people that are wiser than me and had more experience than me. Just like, what should I do? What should I do? And eventually throughout that 2 weeks, I made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to go for this. We're going to make it happen. I originally applied to a college that was about an hour and a half away. I had to live on campus my first year, so there was no way I could like do this thing at like teach martial arts part-time there. Like I couldn't make it happen. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go all in on this. We're going to make it happen. And if I'm going to decide to do this, I have to go all in and I have to make it work. Like it was one of those make or break situations where I realized like, if I do this, I have to make it work. So I got everything that I did have set up, got all that, taken care of, found a local college that actually happened to be a branch off of the college I was going to go to. And we had one about 30 minutes from where our school was. So I went there, didn't have to live on campus my first year. So that made it a little bit easier for me as well. I was able to still teach martial arts part-time along with that. Eventually, actually, I taught full-time while I was going to college. It was a crazy schedule. We could talk about that later, but I took on both at the same time and decided to stay local. And, honestly, I have not looked back since. It was a scary thing for me because my mom always pushed education, education, college, college, college. Like you have to go to college, you got to get your degree. Like my dad pushed it too. So that was kind of like always in my ear. So making that big decision not to go to that dream college I wanted to go to and, kind of going more local. And eventually I ended up actually dropping out of college, pursuing this long term like that. It was a risk, but looking back on it now, man, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Right, right. Yeah, you took that commitment from that, whatever, that intuition or that passion that you had. I mean, you're an artist regardless if it's music or fighting, dancing, singing, acting, And I like how the point of being able to impact so many more lives at the same time. I mean, a successful martial arts school could have 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 students, and then 20, 25, 30 new ones every month rotating. And now also helping other schools survive, you're impacting those lives from afar as well. So yeah, I think you made a good decision, but you're still young, so you can always do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
That's good. What are these benefits? We know, but with your experiences overall, the power that you have and that you've seen in transforming lives, or what we say, empowering lives, with the martial arts. What are the biggest benefits and value?
For me, I would say the number one thing, honestly, is confidence. Kind of like what I talked about earlier was, when I earned my black belt, I got this newfound confidence in myself. When I talk to kids, I tell them like it's like a superpower, right? I got my black belt and I unlocked this new superpower inside of me where, that confidence comes out and you realize that you're capable of way more than you ever thought you were. And, getting to work with more kids, and not even just kids, but even adults too, getting to see people overcome difficult situations, getting to see people push themselves to new levels and realize what they're actually capable of when they set their mind to it. When you see that breakthrough, man, that's priceless. Like it's worth everything. Like it's so amazing watching somebody that comes in and, they're hesitant to look you in the eyes, or you could tell that, they've gone through some stuff that make them doubt themselves or doubt their ability or their worth or what they're capable of, and seeing them transform into like, the only way I can even think about phrasing it is like into this butterfly of a person. Like you see them transform and really kind of blossom out to realizing what their potential is. And now not only do they realize it, but they actually start chasing it. Like that, to me, that's the most rewarding thing, because I've seen it happen for myself, but seeing it happen for others too, and getting to be a part of that journey, like I can't even put that into
Oh
words.
yeah,
Like it's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy, right? And yeah, it's because of that stick to itness, man, that
Yes.
perseverance, and you know, things take time, but to see those transformations, it seems like before our eyes. It might be 6 months or 6 years, but it's just not that same person that first walked in the karate school, you know, with the head
Yes.
down or not sure. And now they come in and they own the place, but then
Yeah.
they're also owning life. They're champions in the
Yes.
world because of that. Doing the little things become accomplishing major things. It's pretty
Yes,
cool.
yes, that
Yeah.
is so true. Like I remember specifically this one little girl. I remember I taught her. She was about 5 or 6 years old the first time she ever came into our school, and I remember going to meet her up front, and she's literally like hiding behind her mom, like wouldn't look at me, like hiding behind her mom, crying, like sobbing, didn't want to be there. That was her first day. Like that was her first day was like that, and maybe a year later like this same little girl that was one point hiding behind mom and she was still in our our little kids program, our 5 through 7 year old program. That same little girl a year later having the confidence to stand in front of a group of her peers and lead our student creed that we say at the start of every class. Like she's able to stand at the front and lead her class through it with no assistance, no help, standing there confident, strong, using her voice. Like when it's moments like that that it
Mhm.
just brings it back to, man, like this is why I do it, because nobody's going to be able to take that confidence away from her. That's going to take her through the rest of her life, and that was
That's
just a
right.
small version of it, right? And they keep building that.
Yeah, yeah. It's priceless. I mean, you know, when we have to deal with objections on how much martial arts cost, I mean, can you put a price tag on confidence and self-esteem,
Yeah.
and you know the differences that we do there? And you deal with a lot of business and business consulting now in martial arts schools. Man, you see a lot of them open and succeed, and you see a lot of them open and close.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I guess it's with martial arts and it's with life, but what is the common traits of these most successful entrepreneurs? And then versus maybe what's the mistakes, man? Why are these guys not succeeding and closing? Because there's some common denominators of both, right? Success and failure.
Yeah. I would say both of them go down to, I don't even know if commitment is the right word, but I would even say urgency, right? Like for me, that's what I would think is like that urgency. So, a trait for the most successful business owners that we work with, I'll, you give them an idea, or something they can go execute, man, they take action on it immediately, right? And they don't sit there and second guess if this is going to work, or they don't wait till all the details are figured out. It's no, let's take it, let's go. Like we're going to make it work. Kind of like what I talked about with my whole thing with college was my decision was, if I'm going to do this, I have to make it work. Right? So you see that urgency come in where as soon as they have that idea, or as soon as they have that opportunity, they don't wait. They don't hesitate. They go take action on it immediately. And some of the best businesses that I've worked with, they have incredible leaders as business owners.
Mm,
Not just somebody who's just running the business, just telling you what to do or just paying the bills. Like, no, the business owner, they are a leader. Like they lead, they influence, they lead from a standpoint of inspiration, they lead from the front, they show their team the example and they go after it. Like those are the best businesses that we worked with, is those business owners who take that leadership standpoint and they mentor their team, they guide their team, they show them the example of how it should be done, right? They don't make excuses for themselves. They hold themselves accountable and they hold their teams accountable. But that
yeah.
urgency piece, like that is so huge, because the longer you sit and you wait and wait and wait and procrastinate and wait and wait and wait, guess what you're not doing? You're not taking action. And if you're not taking action, guess what's going to happen? You're not growing, you're dying. You're not going to stay in the same position. Every day you allow to go by that you're not taking action to get you closer and closer and closer, and intentional action, might I add. I mean, you're backtracking, you're taking steps backwards, and your business is going to be in decline. So the most successful business owners we work with, man, they are incredibly on top of that urgency. Like they don't wait, they go make it happen. They commit and they figure the rest out later. Like they
Mm,
go all in on it. And it's the
yeah.
same on the flip side. The ones that we see that don't have that success, it's that lack of urgency. They take too long to make decisions. They allow too much time to fester. If a problem comes up, instead of attacking it head on, they allow it to linger too long, right? And then it becomes a bigger problem eventually, right? And now you got to clean up this whole mess. And eventually it's that kind of stuff that builds up that eventually comes back to bite you.
Yeah, you're right, bro. No, I love that, man. Commit, figure it out later, right? Urgency, go all in. It's like the story of burn the ships down, right? And
Yes.
find a way or make a way. Leadership is key. It has to start at the top and lead by example. What's more advice on obtaining that leadership? I mean, there's natural born leaders. Otherwise, we got to learn. We don't know what we don't know. So
Yeah.
how do we become better leaders? Because we all want to do that. We lead by example.
Yeah. I definitely goes to, like I said, you got to hold yourself accountable too. But I would say one of the biggest things there is some of the best leaders that I know, they're always learning, they're always growing, right? You never want to stop learning. Like, just like with martial arts, always be a student. Never think that you've learned so much or obtained so much that you can't learn more, that you can't acquire new skill sets. It's just like black belt, right? Most people think black belt is the last rank when really it's actually the first rank. Right. And I joke around with people. Sometimes I say, hey guys, when I earned my black belt, I realized I actually didn't know as much as I thought I did. Like, that was
Right,
when the real
exactly.
training started. So it's the same thing with being a leader. Is you should always be learning, growing, learning about how to run your business better, learning about how to communicate with people, learning more about the people that you actually lead, learning what their goals are, right? What their communication style is, how they like to be communicated with, learning their teaching style or their learning style. Like, are they more hands-on, or are they more of a person that needs to have 50-page detailed laid out document? Like, how does everybody on your team learn? How do they respond? So learning about your people, learning about yourself, learning about your industry, your field, making sure you know every aspect of your business. Like, I would say the best leaders are the ones that are constantly learning, and they're seeking out those opportunities to grow themselves. They're investing in themselves, because the more you invest in you, the more you can pour out to the people that you lead.
Yeah, that's good. 100%. Yeah, man, it's hard sometimes. Sometimes you see it as people do get older that, what do we say? Get stuck in their ways or
Yep.
stagnant. But to be okay to change and evolve, and everything changes, and to improve and to learn. We're blessed to have so much information that it could be good or bad, right? Too much
Yeah.
information, but finding the right information to grow and learn. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Well, let me go. I'm gonna got some little rapid fire type questions, and you
Let's
can go
go.
from there, and then we'll kind of go over some other things. But
Let's do it.
what's the best martial arts style and why?
Ooh, best martial arts style. Man, dude. Oh, okay. Honestly, I love self-defense. I love Krav, right? That was the system that we learned within our martial arts school, was Krav Maga. And honestly, to me, like, that's my favorite to work on. It's my favorite to train. It's my favorite to learn. And honestly, the reason for that is because, for me anyway, it feels more realistic, right? It has more of a reality base to it for me. So with a lot of people that we work with, and just the way the world is and everything like that, like, it's good to have those strategies and those tools at your fingertips that I don't want to say are easy to learn. Really, it's more so it's getting that training in and getting that repetition to make it more comfortable for you. And obviously, under stress and under pressure, you got to be able to execute. But I would say for me, it would be Krav, just because of the realistic aspect of it, and the understanding that, hey, like, if somebody grabs me in a choke, like, what do I do? Somebody pulls a gun on me, like, what do I do? Like, it's those kind of real life scenarios that attract me to it, because that's what's reality, right? Like,
Hmm.
like, I don't know, that would be
Yeah,
my
yeah.
easiest answer to that, would be Krav
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah. No,
sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like Krav. I think again, a simple, realistic approach to realistic self-defense and handling adrenal stress and pressure and reaction. I mean, if you want to be a UFC fighter, that might not be the style for you. So it depends on
Yeah,
your goals.
exactly.
But yeah, you're right. What about the age? I mean, I'm sure you've taught people 3-year-olds up to 73-year-olds. But what's the best age to start martial arts?
Ooh, honestly, I don't think there is a best age. I think it's more of as early as possible. Like, for me, I would say start as early as you can, because the younger you are, the more absorbent you are, right? You're like a sponge. So you catch on to things faster, you understand it faster. I think about it like with sport karate, for example. Like, you go to some of these tournaments and you see these kids that are like 6, 7 years old doing these crazy tricks and flips and
Yeah.
all this stuff. But man, think about how young they were when they started learning the foundation to do that. Like, you try to teach me that now, like, like, things are gonna break. Like, it's not gonna be good, right? And I'm gonna have my own mental blocks to that too. So I think as early as you can definitely is better. but also at the same time, like I don't feel like it's ever too late. Like I know some people that are 80 years old that are just now starting their training. Like shout
Right.
out to those people. Like that's awesome. Like I don't think there's ever a real age cap. So I would, my simple answer to that would be start as early as possible. And if you haven't started, it's never too late to start.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Now is the time, right? Be in the
Yeah,
present
now's
moment
the
and do
time.
it. Oh, as far as we know, we have this one life right here on the world, so live
Exactly.
it. When is what's that question? When is now going to be the right time?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
get it going. All right. What about a martial arts technique? I like asking martial artists this question because I get some common things and sometimes some unique ones. I'm sure you've been asked before by somebody. We're in a world where somebody wants to know it now and be able to apply it immediately. And if they had to learn one martial arts technique, a skill, a move, what would it be? What's the best martial arts technique for someone to know?
Best martial arts technique for someone to know. I would go with honestly it sounds simple. I would say like a front kick, honestly. And the reason I say that is because especially when you start thinking about it in terms of the self-defense aspect of it as well. Obviously, there are different ways you can throw a front kick depending on the purpose of it. But I can use the design if I want to, if I'm not as flexible and I want to use this to kick to the groin or whatever the case may be, like I can, and it'll still have obviously a decent amount of power in it. If I want to use it to, push somebody away or create space or distance, I can. If I want to use it in a specific way to be able to drop somebody, like I can. So I think it's one of those techniques where it's a simple one, but the way you use it can be different depending on the situation. So to me, that's interesting. That's cool. And it's a pretty simple one to learn too, because there's not a lot of like extra movement that goes with it, like all that stuff. So feel like it'd be a simple one to teach, but also a very effective one. So yeah, I would just go with a front kick,
Yeah,
honestly.
good basic, right? Yeah, the
Yeah,
fundamentals
can
are
never
the
go wrong with a basic.
foundation. Yeah, the most important. All right. What about a all-time fighter, martial artist, combative sport? Who's your favorite all-time fighter, competitor, and why?
Ooh, all time fighter, competitor. See, that's a hard one. I honestly, like, if I'm going to be completely transparent, I don't even keep up with like UFC fights, MMA. I don't even keep up with it as much as I probably should, considering
It's
that I'm
hard
like in the
now.
martial arts industry.
Yeah.
Um, but nah, yeah, I don't even know like where I would go with that, honestly. I don't want to like just throw a name out there and it not really
Right,
be
right.
one, but I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, like I would always have to like kind of side with if we go with martial artists overall, just because I have a black belt like under him, I would have to, kind of go that Chuck Norris route. So just because
yeah,
of the nature of that, and then I guess also too because my my grandpa always had like an obsession with Walker Texas
yeah,
Rangers. So I guess like it was
yeah.
kind of fitting that like he loved that, and then I get my black belt in Chuck Norris. So if I had to go with
Hey,
martial artists, I would go Chuck Norris. But I mean, as far as like an all time favorite fighter or anything like that, honestly, I don't even keep up with it enough to be able to like really pinpoint somebody.
yeah, I got you. Well, heck, it's hard now, man. That the roster and the
Oh my gosh,
organizations
yeah.
and the fight world is crazy. But Chuck Norris is a good answer. That's hard to beat Chuck, right? A
Yeah, that's
pioneer
right,
in
exactly.
so many ways, and still literally kicking. All right, let's do a couple. These don't have to be martial arts related, but overall, what's your favorite book and why?
Yeah, definitely. So one of my favorite books actually, I don't remember the name of it. It's called I want to say it's called Chase the Lion or Lion Chasers. It's something like that. Honestly, I couldn't even remember to tell you who it's by, but basically the whole idea and premise behind it is it takes takes more of a Christian approach to like your goals and your dreams and big goals and big dreams at that. And just having that willingness to go and attack those goals and attack those dreams. I've read this book multiple times. I'm reading it again actually right now. But just the idea behind setting these big and scary goals, like literally one of the quotes is like, if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. So just kind of taking that mindset and that approach towards what your goals are, and really putting that in perspective, and then obviously realizing what steps you need to take in order to make those goals become a reality. I really love the whole idea behind that book. I would also say 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. I love that one as well. I've read that one multiple times. That's one of my favorites. And then another one that I just kind of listen on repeat in audio. I know you asked for one, but I've got like, I read so much now that like there are some that I just have to keep going back and listening to over and over because I get something different from each of them. But I would even say a third one would be, it's called Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's by Grant Cardone. That's another great one that I really love. I just constantly repeat it and listen to it on audiobooks. So those would be like my top three.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, man, we got to read. There's so much information out there to inspire and motivate and entertain. You know, put some good information in your head because there's enough negativity. What about a movie? Yeah, give me your favorite all-time movie.
Favorite all-time movie? Honestly, I'm in love with like, I don't know what it is, but I'm in love with like the Creed movies right now. Like the whole like Creed series, like 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what it is, but like it gets me hyped up. Like I love it. I love the storyline. So I would say the Creed movies right now, honestly.
Yeah, well, those good reasons. Excellent. Yeah. Well, Kempo, what else you got going on? Where can we find you? And what's some advice for these listeners? We got martial artists and non-martial artists, and this podcast is growing all over the world. So tell us where to connect to you. I know you're available for a lot of different things to improve people's business and consulting, as well as what else you got going on?
Yeah, definitely. One of the easiest ways, honestly, to connect with me would be on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is @_Cam Smith, CAMSMITH_. So @_Cam Smith_ on Instagram. That's one of the easiest ways to be able to find me. Honestly, that's where I spend most of my time is on Instagram. So that would be the best place to find me. And then if you want like more information on like what we do as business coaches and what we do for businesses and things like that, we're Rise USA, so Rise Business Coaching. So one of the easiest ways to find our website is just go online to riseusa.com. riseusa.com, sorry, RISEUSA.com. That's the easiest way to get information on us. You can also look that up on Facebook as well, Rise Business Coaching, to find out more about what we do there.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, you guys reach out to Cameron. I know he has some value to add to you, your business, your life, and you guys, keep kicking, man. I'll stay in touch with you. I'll see you soon, I'm sure. But thanks for coming on the show today. I appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for this. This is great.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Hey, y'all be sure to check out all our other episodes as well as the YouTube channel, James Cox Martial Arts. Thanks.